The Galactic Survival Institute's most challenging examination took place on designation XR-7, a barren desert planet where temperatures reached 140 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and plummeted to freezing at night. Representatives from 47 species had gathered to prove their worthiness for the prestigious Extreme Environment Certification, a qualification that would open doors to lucrative contracts across the galaxy. Captain Jake Morrison from Earth stood among the crowd, adjusting his worn baseball cap as the proctor, a crystalline being named Vexthor, explained the rules. Each candidate will be dropped at random coordinates across the scorched plains, Vexthor announced, their voice reverberating through translators. You have 72 hours to survive. No technology beyond basic tools. No rescue unless you trigger your emergency beacon, which means automatic failure. The last candidate standing will receive certification. The other species exchanged confident glances. The Krillians, with their thick exoskeletons, seemed particularly assured. The aquatic Nereids had brought specialized moisture retention suits. The Vorthenians could enter a state of suspended animation to conserve resources. Jake simply nodded, checking his basic survival kit, a knife, some rope, a metal canteen, and a compact shovel. His fellow candidates had laughed when they saw the shovel. Primitive human still digs in dirt, a Krillian had chittered mockingly. 20 hours into the test, the situation had become dire for most candidates. The scorching sun showed no mercy. Jake had been dropped near a dried riverbed, exactly where he'd hoped to be. While other candidates sought shade in caves or tried to ration the single liter of water they'd been provided, Jake was on his knees, digging. He'd learned geology as a kid in Arizona, spending summers with his grandfather who'd been a well driller. The old man had taught him to read the land, to see water where others saw only dust. The dried riverbed told a story. The specific types of vegetation, deep-rooted mesquite analogues, indicated water below. The slightly greener tint of certain rocks suggested moisture. The way the sand had settled in particular patterns revealed ancient water flow. Jake dug methodically, conserving his energy, working during the cooler hours. 2 feet down, the sand became damp. At 4 feet, mud. At 6 feet, water began pooling at the bottom of his hole. He'd found the water table. Using rocks in his shirt as a filter, Jake purified the water through slow sand filtration, letting it seep through layers he'd carefully constructed. It wasn't perfect, but his grandfather had also taught him that humans had robust digestive systems, tougher than most people gave them credit for. A little sediment wouldn't kill him. By hour 30, Jake had constructed a proper well using rocks to prevent collapse, had drunk his fill, refilled his canteen, and even managed to create a small shaded area using his tarp and some branches from the sparse vegetation. That's when he encountered his first fellow candidate. Lieutenant Commander Zexic of the Krillian Dominion stumbled into view, their exoskeleton dulled by dust, movement sluggish. The proud warrior who'd mocked Jake days earlier now looked desperate. Water, Zexic rasped. My rations, gone. Heat, expanding them, burst my container. Jake stood up from his well, taking a long drink from his canteen, watching the alien's eye stalks track the movement with desperate hunger. Well now, Jake said slowly, a slight smile playing on his lips. Seems you've got yourself a problem, friend. Please, we may be competitors, but surely. Oh, I'll help you, Jake interrupted. But nothing in this galaxy is free. My granddaddy taught me that too. You want water from my well? You're gonna pay for it. Zexic's mandibles clicked in confusion. Pay? With what? We have no currency here. Information, Jake said. You've been here longer than me. You know where other candidates got dropped. You tell me who's struggling, who's thriving, where the nearest ones are. That's worth, say, 2 liters. The Krillian hesitated for only a moment before agreeing, pride swallowed by thirst. By hour 48, Jake's well had become legendary. Word spread through emergency beacon signals and chance encounters. The human had water. Lots of it. Madison Foster, another human candidate who'd been struggling, was his first recurring customer. She paid with her rope, which Jake used to improve his Wells bucket system. A Nereid named Gloshare traded their moisture suit for 3 days of water access, ironic, since the suit had failed in the extreme heat. The Vorthenian philosopher Ren traded knowledge of edible plants in exchange for water. Jake added those plants to his diet, improving his nutrition. By hour 60, Jake had established the galaxy's first desert hydration business. He'd even created a crude sign using rocks: Jake's Oasis, fair prices, all species welcome. Candidates who'd been ready to quit were now surviving. Some had even formed a small community around Jake's well, sharing resources and knowledge. The competition had transformed into something else entirely: cooperation born from human ingenuity. When Vexthor arrived at hour 72 for the evaluation, they found not scattered, desperate survivors, but a thriving microsociety centered around a well, with a grinning human at its center. "This is unprecedented," Vexthor said, their crystalline structure pulsing with what might have been confusion. "You were meant to struggle for survival, not establish commerce." Jake took off his cap, wiping his brow. "You said survive 72 hours. Didn't say I couldn't help others survive too. Didn't say I couldn't make it profitable. See, we humans figured out long ago that sometimes the best way to survive is to make sure everyone around you survives too. Rising tide lifts all boats, as we say back home." 43 candidates passed the test that year, a record. Most cited the humans well as the key to their survival. Jake Morrison became the first candidate to receive not just the Extreme Environment Certification, but also the newly created Innovative Survival Leadership Commendation. As for the shovel that the Krillian had mocked, Jake sold it to a museum for twice what the certification was worth. Apparently, the galaxy had never seen one used so effectively. The plaque beneath it read, "Human Survival Tool, primitive, yet devastatingly practical." Jake couldn't have said it better himself.